Typhoon Matmo, also known as Paolo, continues to cause destruction across southern China. The storm swept through the South China Sea after striking the Philippines earlier in the week. As it approached the Chinese coast, Matmo regained strength and turned into a powerful tropical cyclone. By the time this report was released, Chinese authorities had already launched mass evacuations. According to official estimates, around 347,000 people were evacuated from Guangdong and Hainan provinces. Approximately 198,000 residents were moved out of Hainan. In Guangdong, about 151,000 residents were relocated to safer areas. Meteorological services issued a red typhoon alert, the highest level on their scale. Wind speeds at the storm's peak reached 151 kilometers per hour, making it a dangerous and destructive system. The hurricane-force winds were accompanied by heavy rainfall in coastal regions. In some areas, rainfall totals ranged from 100 to 249 millimeters in just a few hours. Southern China faced serious threats of flooding and landslides. Coastal villages in Guangdong were battered by high tides and seawater surges. In the port city of Zhanjiang, severe flooding submerged roads and cut off transport. Major highways in multiple regions were temporarily closed. Maritime traffic, including ferry services, was suspended ahead of the storm. In Hainan, ferry routes and tourist boats were halted for safety reasons. In Sanya, popular tourist tours and water excursions were canceled the night before landfall. Haikou International Airport suspended flights from 11 p.m. on the eve of the typhoon. Ground transport, school operations, and workplaces were also put on hold. Many factories and shopping centers closed as a precaution. The storm coincided with China's Golden Week, a major national holiday period. The 8-day holiday period was disrupted by weather emergencies. Travel authorities had forecast more than 2.36 billion domestic trips during the holiday. The typhoon forced mass cancellations and delays, leaving thousands stranded. Hundreds of flights were canceled across affected provinces. In Hong Kong, around 100 flights were disrupted, with about 30 completely canceled. The city raised its typhoon warning signal number 3 for strong winds. It marked the 12th tropical cyclone warning this year, the highest since 1946. As the storm moved inland, Matmo gradually weakened. After landfall, it was downgraded to a tropical depression. Meteorologists predict it will continue weakening as it tracks northwestward. Its projected path includes parts of Vietnam and China's Yunnan province. Rainfall totals in those regions could reach between 130 and 150 millimeters. Interior areas remain at risk of landslides and mudflows. Emergency services have been placed on high alert. Local emergency command centers are coordinating rescue and relief efforts. Particular attention is being paid to mountainous and rural zones prone to soil movement. Authorities in Guangdong have deployed rapid response teams to critical areas. In Hainan, temporary shelters have been set up for displaced residents. Evacuees are being housed in schools, public buildings, and gymnasiums. Relief logistics ensure the supply of food, drinking water, and medical aid. Power outages affected several coastal regions. Utility crews are working to restore downed power lines. Road clearing and debris removal will begin once conditions improve. Images of flooded streets and uprooted trees dominate local media. Residents are sharing footage of the destruction on social networks. Some homes lost roofs and structural parts of their walls. Agricultural fields and plantations suffered from heavy flooding. Crop losses are expected to be significant, especially for seasonal produce. Fish farms along the coast also reported damage. Earlier, Matmo had swept over northern parts of the Philippines, triggering floods and power outages. Over 8,000 people were evacuated there as a precaution. Schools and marine transport were temporarily closed across affected provinces. No major casualties were reported in the Philippines during the storm's passage. However, damage to local infrastructure and homes was extensive. Wind speeds there reached up to 110 kilometers per hour, with gusts peaking at 165 kilometers per hour. At its strongest, Matmo was equivalent to a mid-range typhoon. Scientists note that such powerful cyclones are becoming more unusual for October. Climate change, however, is extending the tropical storm season into late months. Warmer sea temperatures provide more energy for storm formation. This leads to heavier rainfall and stronger wind events even after the typical season. China's meteorological agencies rely on advanced modeling systems for forecasting. Experts say predicting typhoon intensity remains a major challenge. Still, the accuracy of storm track forecasts has improved significantly in recent years. Hybrid models that combine physical simulations with machine learning are now used. Recent studies show these systems improve intensity prediction in most scenarios. However, sudden track shifts remain difficult to predict accurately. China's emergency response system now utilizes drones and satellite imagery. Aerial surveillance helps assess damage and plan rescue routes. Firefighters, engineers, and disaster response teams are already deployed. Municipal governments are assessing damages and submitting aid requests. Coordination between local and provincial authorities remains tight. Residents are urged to stay indoors and avoid coastal or flooded zones. Officials warn against attempting to drive through submerged roads. News outlets have published emergency contact numbers for rescue hotlines. Authorities caution about the risk of electric shock and falling debris. Medical teams are ready to assist those injured or displaced. Hospitals have stocked extra supplies of medicine and trauma materials. Military units are prepared to assist with rescue and evacuation, if necessary. Police forces are maintaining order and monitoring traffic conditions. Dams and reservoirs are being closely inspected to prevent breaches. Temporary road restrictions may be introduced in heavily flooded zones. After the storm passes, recovery and rebuilding efforts will begin. Bridges, roads, and communication networks will require urgent inspection. Restoration of electricity and mobile connections will be a top priority. Hotlines have been set up for residents needing immediate assistance. Those whose homes were destroyed or heavily damaged will receive temporary housing. Neighboring provinces may send additional resources to support recovery. International humanitarian groups expressed readiness to offer aid. No casualties have been officially reported in China so far, though infrastructure damage is extensive. Typhoon Matmo poses yet another major test for China's disaster preparedness and resilience. The next 24 hours will be crucial in assessing the full scale of destruction. Authorities continue urging the public to remain vigilant until the storm completely dissipates.